welcome. I'm Ujoma Onyato. Tonight, 3 IDPs killed and 17 injured following multiple suicide bomb attacks at Dalari camps in outskirts of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo meets Borno State Governor and service chiefs on rebuilding of the Northeast, promises to tackle suicide bombings. Arewa Youth Consultative Forum set to review stance on quick notice to Igbos living in the north. And Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, defends action in last year's U.S. presidential campaign after testifying before a Senate panel probing alleged Russian interference in the election.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's central bank governor rules out plans to cut interest rates ahead of Tuesday's monetary policy decision meeting.
While on sports news, Manchester City complete the signing of France left-back Benjamin Mendy for £52 million, a deal that makes him the world's most expensive defender.
The All Progressives Congress wins all chairmanship and 369 councillorship seats in the Lagos State local government polls.
We begin tonight with a new ray of hope in the efforts to rebuild the Northeast. Now the federal government has affirmed its commitment to those displaced by Boko Haram terrorists. The Bama initiative will also include the rehabilitation of destroyed infrastructure and the assurance that displaced persons get a better life. The Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima, after a meeting with the acting President Yemi Osinbajo, today told State House correspondents in Abuja that the project, which is in its early stage, will help bring affected states in the Northeast back to life. He says the federal government is already drawing up a new strategy to tackle the rising cases of suicide bombings in the Northeast.
The federal government had magnanimously decided to support us with the Bama initiative, a very beautiful pilot scheme, which we hope will be replicated in all parts of the devastated Northeast. It's an exploratory discussion, and once it comes on stream, you will be accordingly notified. It's about restoring the dignity of our people, about rebuilding lives, infrastructure, homes, schools, clinics. It's about giving hope to the hopeless. To me personally, even this suicide bombing is a sign of weakness on the part of the Boko Haram rather than strength. 2 years ago, they were holding on to 22 out of 27 local government areas. They have been sufficiently decimated. I'm not underrating their capacity for mischief, but these are lunatics who bask on the oxygen of publicity, who will kill and maim so that they can get greater regard in the global jihadist community. So definitely we are also coming up with robust response towards addressing this issue of suicide bombing. We have challenges, no doubt about it. I am not actually discounting that fact. But when you put it in proper context, you will see that a lot has been gained.
In the meantime, at least 3 people have been reported killed and 17 others injured following suicide attacks on 2 internally displaced people's camps in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. A statement by the National Emergency Management Agency in the Northeast explains that around 11:20 last night, a man and a female suicide bomber detonated their improvised explosive devices at Dalari 1 IDP camp, leading to the death of 3 IDPs. It adds that another incident occurred at Dalari 2 IDP camp, where a suicide bomber was intercepted, leading to the death of the suicide bomber. A statement by the State Police Command says there was another attack in the early hours of today as a male suicide bomber attempted to gain entry into the University of Maiduguri. On citing security personnel on duty, the suicide bomber allegedly detonated his IED, killing himself alone. Several suicide attacks by Boko Haram militants have been recorded, especially in Borno State in recent times, just as the military claims to have decimated the group. The Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigerian Police have arrested a suspected member of the Boko Haram sect in Abuja. The Commissioner of Police in charge of the FCT, Musa Kimo, says the 20-year-old suspect, Seth Yakubu, was arrested following a tip-off by members of the community where he was hiding. According to him, the suspect ran away from the Boko Haram hideout in Sambisa forest after the Air Force launched an airstrike in the area last week.
For an army training. After finishing the training,
Seth Yakubu from Obi local government of Nasarawa State. Yesterday at 11:30 hours at Gwakwa village in Gwagwalada area council of the FCT, he was found in a strange and suspicious manner. The police was alerted and the police swiftly moved and arrested him. Upon interrogation, he confessed to be a member of Boko Haram and that he fled the Sambisa recently and because of the heat by the military. I want to enjoin all patriotic, well-meaning Nigerians to also always have the courage to give police timely information about strange and suspicious characters in their midst. Right now he's being investigated and is helping us in our investigation.
To security matters of a different nature, following the reactions that trailed the October the 1st ultimatum given to Igbos by a coalition of northern youth organizations to leave the north, the group says it's set to review its position. In an interview with Channels Television in Kaduna, the president of the Arewa Youth's Consultative Forum, Yerima Shetima, said the decision to review the ultimatum is in the interest of peace and unity of the country. He also said that the intervention of some notable Igbo leaders has shown that the indigenous people of Biafra does not speak for all Igbos.
After the June Kaduna declaration, a lot had happened. So many things happened. The silence on the part of the Southeast governor actually prompted a lot of things that gave birth to the June declaration. And haven't seen a lot of things going on as regards to the governors having meetings to disassociate themselves from that iPod, believing in Nigeria, and also the organizations such as Ohanese and the Ohanese Youth Council and other prominent Nigerians from that same axis give us reason to begin to think of reviewing our positions. But then officially, when I say officially, it's a coalition. We have not sat down to conclude plans on reviewing the position of things. But I hope very soon we will sit down and also review the situation. Then we will make our position very clear on our position on what we felt about the whole thing. To those who believe in Nigeria, they should remain calmly, there is no problem. But to those who felt they want the republic of their own place, they should not drag the North into that mess, because we strongly believe in Nigeria. They should go back to their area. Since they believe they want to go out of Nigeria and they want to form a republic of their own, they cannot build another nation in the mix of a nation that exists.
Nigeria's former military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, is confident that Nigeria will remain one indivisible nation despite its diversity. General Gowon is not only confident about the country's unity, but he also believes that the present generation have a big role to play in restoring the glory of Nigeria. He says the calls for secession by some groups in the country are mere agitations that cannot stand.
I have such confidence in Nigeria, and I have such confidence in the youth of this country that they will make sure that they take over and do better than what we left for them. So I know I have no fear, and all these rantings, etc. No. I have confidence in you that it is all of you that will make sure that you keep this country going and to even make it greater. And diversity is our greatest source of unity and strength.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, is calling for reforms in Africa's oil and gas sector to cushion the effect of the losses incurred during the shortfall in the price of oil. The acting president believes the reforms, if well implemented, will improve oil production and boost the economies of oil-producing countries. He was speaking at the opening ceremony of the extraordinary session of the Council of Ministers of African Petroleum Producers in Abuja.
The national representatives Representatives of oil-producing countries in Africa, government officials, and key players in the oil and gas sector convene to accelerate development in the sector through the sharing of best international practices. This conference holds at a time when OPEC is meeting in Russia to address global challenges in the sector. Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, decries the fall in oil prices over the past 3 years and its detrimental influence on the international and domestic oil market. This huge challenge, he says, must be addressed by reforming the oil and gas sector to withstand any shocks that may arise in the future.
In Nigeria, we are pursuing a series of reforms along these lines, combining executive and legislative action to create a sector that is more efficient, more transparent, and more attractive to domestic and foreign investment. We are also making progress in fine-tuning and implementing our local content policy.
Experts proffer solutions on how to resolve the lack of access to modern energy assets, which has left much of Africa's population relegated to the use of traditional energy resources such as kerosene. They also make the case that modern technology must be adopted for optimal performance in the oil and gas sector.
We need to begin to look at the African market and how they can enlarge it, expand it, make it robust, and yet protect it, so that those of us who play in that market will be able to have a first opportunity to utilize that market.
Today, an African consumes an average of 0.4 ton oil equivalent. This paradox must challenge us all, because no economy can develop without this fundamental factor which is modern energy.
For over 60 years, Africa's oil producers have continued to depend on oil despite their abundant natural and human resources. While many resolutions will be reached here, observers say it is important to develop other sectors such as agriculture and manufacturing for greater economic diversification across the continent.
Meanwhile, governors of Nigeria's southwest states have agreed to adopt a regional integration plan in key sectors of the economy, especially agriculture and security. The governors, under the aegis of the Development Agenda for Western Nigeria Commission, agreed to set up a joint task force to contain all forms of security threats in the region. They've also directed officials of the Dawn Commission to develop a 25-year Western Nigeria Development Master Plan.
Dawn is directed to develop a 25-year Western Nigeria Development Master Plan, that a joint task force and joint actions will be pursued and sustained on security threats to guarantee the safety of lives, property, and prosperity of the people of the region. That Western Nigeria is hereby declared a zero-tolerance zone to crime. That the artificial boundaries of states, religions, political affiliation, etc., will not be a barrier to regional development. All the states are encouraged to significantly improve bilateral and multilateral cooperation to foster regional development. That the competitive advantage of constituent states will be harnessed for sustainable regional development. That Dawn should develop a revenue optimization strategy for constituent states of the region. That in order to improve the food security of the region, Dawn should convene a regional agri-summit to be held in Ibadan. This forum be known henceforth as Western Nigeria Governors Forum.
In part two, after the break, Senate President calls for strong legislation for effective universal health coverage for Nigerians. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.